on one leading MP who, for whatever reason, is not, I think, waiting in a meeting to follow Mr. Jenrick's lead, is David Davis, former cabinet minister. And on the right of the party, in general terms, David, I think it would be fair to say, let me ask, first of all, how you regard this. Do you think this is a rebellion that's going to succeed?
No, not at all. I mean, look, what's the alternative? You've got them sort of saying, OK, we're going to vote this down, so what's going to come in instead? Now, if they want to toughen it up in right-wing terms, what do? They make it even more problematic for the European Court of Human Rights, problematic for the European Convention. Guess what? They end up undermining the European Convention, and guess what that does? That actually undermines the Good Friday Agreement, and that in turn means that the European Union may say, I'm sorry, but the trade and commerce agreement that we agreed with you last year falls.
They are playing with fire.
They're playing with Brexit fire.
Yeah.
They're playing with destroying Brexit. These are nearly all Brexiteers, right?
So the other thing I don't quite understand, you can perhaps explain to me, is the government says that 95% of the individual legal claims by migrants against the government would be unable to proceed with this bill, which leaves just 5% which might succeed. Why is that 5% so much worth it that it's the right of prepared to bring the whole thing down?
It's very hard to know, to be honest. I mean, look, so your listeners can understand. What this bill in simple terms does is, on the one hand, stops the European Court just saying that aircraft just gone on the tarmac can't take off, which is what's happened a couple of times, by what's called a Rule 39 ruling. They've stopped that. The thing stops that. But what it doesn't do, it doesn't stop, let's say you or I are illegal migrant, saying, look, I've got deep vein thrombosis, or I've got late-stage cancer, or I'm a woman in the eighth month of pregnancy. You can't send me to Rwanda because it'll kill me. That doesn't take that right away, right?
That seems a pretty fundamental right for all those people.
It's not just a fundamental right. The European Convention, remember, was built on British tradition. It was built on 200 years of constitutional rights. So, I'm saying to Mark Francois or Bill Cash or whoever, are you really saying that somebody can't say, if you kill me, please don't send me abroad? I mean, it's as simple as that. So
this is, from your point of view, an inhumane proposal which would destroy Brexit. Just let's
in a nutshell.
hang around the Brexit side of this for a moment. And it destroys Brexit because it destroys the relationship with the EU based on the Good Friday Agreement and therefore the trade.
Look, it doesn't automatically destroy Brexit. I mean, but it does pretty much automatically destroy the Good Friday Agreement. The Good Friday Agreement, if you read through it, a whole load of clauses which are based on the European Convention on Human Rights. It's based on it. It's fundamental. So if you destroy your support for that, then you destroy that. But it gives the pretty much automatic right to the European Union, if they want to pull the plug on everything else, because there are enough clauses in the TCA, as it's known, to do that.
So I was saying the stakes here are the future of the government. The stakes here seem to be even bigger than that.
They are. At one level, they are. And I'm not sure why. And look, these are old mates of mine. These are all colleagues of mine. They're mates and friends of mine. I'm not sure quite why they're doing it, unless they're being encouraged by people perhaps who have other interests.
So I wanted to come on to that finally, which is there are no doubt, and you know this as well as I do, there are some members of your party who are so furious or disappointed with Rishi Sunak, they'd like to pull him down and have another leadership contest. Now, I have said before, and I think this is absolutely crackers, but there are some people who want to go ahead and do that. But I don't think there's 29 of them, and therefore I think the bill goes through tomorrow.
I think that's right. I think the vast majority of my colleagues think it's crackers. And what's more, anybody who's manoeuvring in the hope of being the next leader, if there's any visibility of that to my colleagues, they'll say, well, sorry, you're putting your own interests ahead of the interests of the party and the country. And so we're never going to vote for you. So I think, as you say, it'll go through tomorrow. It might be, the majority might be a bit smaller than we'd like, but it'll go through tomorrow. The next round is after Christmas, after the new year. Some of them may want to amend it, but are they going to get any Labour support for a right-wing amendment? Absolutely not.
So the amendments won't work, and then it's third reading, and it's hard to vote against third reading if you voted in favour of second reading.
Your original analysis was right on that. So I think, and it'll be very interesting. I mean, this is coming down to a dispute over law. I mean, I think you've got Geoffrey Cox coming on later.
We do indeed, the former Attorney General.
Possibly the most expensive lawyer in the world.
OK. Well, I hope he's not charging a fee. I hope he's not charging
But you
for
have
the
to ask us a simple, maybe a cruel question from me, to the public at large. Who do you trust on issues of law? Geoffrey Cox and the ex-chairman of the Law Association, and Tony Spate, an old man who's got more brains than all of Parliament put together. Do you trust them, or do you trust the Star Chamber on issues of law? And I think the truth, at the end of the day, we've got to go with the brain power.
Go with the brain power. That's a very, very good thought to end on, David Davis. Thanks so much for coming in. Now then, David was quite right. We will be hearing from the former Attorney General, Geoffrey Cox, later on. But it strikes me that in many ways, all of this is rather like the